Hi, my name is Donald Robertson, and I'm here with a younger, more intelligent, blonder, more female version of myself called
Poppy.
Pops. Do you want to tell everyone how old you are, Pops?
I'm 11.
Do you know how
Yeah,
old I am?
I don't know, 90.
Not quite, not quite that old yet, but getting there.
Like
Um,
50.
but that's a good guess, Pops. Well done. That's good. That's pretty accurate. Um, So why are we even here, Pops, today? What are we doing?
Well, we're going to be talking about this book.
What book? What's it
Uh,
called?
it's called The Stock Horse and the Stable Cat.
Oh my goodness. So we're going to be doing a review of a book called The Stock Horse and the Stable Cat. Pops and I have made a few videos together, haven't we? Remember the good old days, Pops, when we used to do reaction videos and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, and we did. Some of them we published, not all of them we didn't. We have yet to publish the archive of our Iron Maiden reaction videos, but we I did some book reviews of philosophy books. There was one. Do you remember what they were?
Um, I don't remember exactly, but because
It's
it
a
was
while
like a
back.
really long time ago, but it was by someone you knew. That's all I remember.
Oh yeah, we did a few actually. We probably did like three or four, but there was one called something about Stoicism, and then there was one about Socrates that was like an illustrated one, and there was one about Diogenes the dog. You must remember that. That was pretty cool. And do you remember we used to read books about Greek mythology and things like that as well?
Yep.
Do you ever discuss philosophy or Greek mythology at school?
Sometimes.
Do you actually? Do they talk about it?
Well, sometimes people in my class they try to talk about it and then they say absolutely nonsense, like things that are not true at all.
Stuff
And I'm
that's not accurate.
so
But
angry because it's not true. So yeah.
do your teachers teach you about it?
No,
No.
they don't really care about it.
Oh man, I well they're missing out.
Yep.
Um, well, this book was a present from Phil Van Treuren, who's the author, and it's a review copy.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do a little bit of a review of it. I think the first thing I wanted to ask you, Pops, is what age do you think this book is suitable for? What would it
Um.
most appeal to? What age?
Well. Well. I think it would be good for anywhere from 8 years old to um. Well, 8 years old and any 8 years old and plus, 8 years
Mm-hmm.
old and up. Yeah.
I think I should read it. I've read bits of it, I should say. I haven't read the whole thing because you've got it.
Yeah,
Like,
I read the whole thing a few
and
times.
we're not in the same place at the moment. Um, so I'll tell you what it says on the website, which is called simplestoic.com website. It says the stock horse and the stable cat tells the story of two friends who have very different opinions about what should be called good and bad. As they walk on the ranch together one autumn day, they gradually realize that their own stubborn opinions of the world might not be the only way to see things. Does that sound like an accurate description of the
Yeah, it sounds
contents?
very accurate.
Sounds very accurate. Could you dive in with us, Pops, and give us an introduction in classic pop style to the first? Well, like if there's any other stuff that you want to let us know or show us, like feel be my guest. But I thought you might want to read the first page.
Okay. I'll just read the first page. Okay. Okay. Okay, it says a faithful stock horse and a wily stable cat had become unlikely friends at the ranch and found themselves walking together one autumn morning in a meadow behind the paddock. They saw an apple tree and watched as its branches rustled in a breeze. "The wind is good," said the stock horse. "It carries a smell of sagebrush from the valley and blows through my mane, and that makes me feel happy." "The wind is bad," said the stable cat. "It's boisterous and bothersome, and makes it difficult to hunt mice in the field, and that makes me feel angry." But the wind was not good or bad. It was simply the wind. The horse and the cat were free to choose how they felt about it.
Well, that's jolly interesting. That's kind of the moral of the story. How does that compare, do you think? Could you show us the, first of all, can you show us the picture for that
Oh,
page?
yeah, sorry. Oops. Okay,
And what's on it? It's a picture
that,
of the horse and the cat.
yeah,
I've
and
seen that
they're
before. I think
looking
that's on the
at it.
website, maybe. Uh, that's cool. They're looking at a tree,
Yep.
pondering it. And how does that compare to the contents of the rest of the book?
Um,
Does it say similar things in the other pages?
yeah, well, basically all the other pages, well, most of the other pages are, like, pretty much saying the same thing, except about a different thing. Like, it's saying
Mm-hmm.
that they're free to choose how they feel about it on every page, pretty much, except it's about a different thing, and then at the end, they realize.
Don't spoil the ending, Pops.
Well, okay, I won't not spoil it anymore.
Show us what are some good pictures in it? Like, what are your favourite
Okay,
pages?
okay, so let me find it. I know which one it is in my head. There. I
Mm-hmm.
like this picture.
That's just the cat on its own. What's it
Come
doing? It's
on.
in a tree.
It's really nice, okay?
That's cool. That's a nice picture of a cat.
Yeah, and I have a second favorite
Ginger cat.
picture, okay?
All right. That was good.
Where did it go? Oh my god. Okay. I also like this one.
That's a picture of a horse who's behind, actually. That's a picture of a horse on its own. It's eating the grass or something.
Yeah,
You like horses, so is that the sort of thing that horses do? Bit
pretty much,
much.
yeah.
Cool. Did you enjoy reading that book?
Yes, I found it very intriguing.
Very intriguing. And do you think it contains good advice or bad advice, Pops?
Good advice.
Good advice. Would other kids who get angry, so you mentioned earlier, kind of getting angry with kids because they talk a lot of nonsense about Greek mythology, I think you meant. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So if other kids get angry, right? Because sometimes they get angry as well. Do they sometimes get annoyed with you or angry with you, or with each other?
Depends what it's about.
But so like kids are known for sometimes getting angry. It's a thing they
Yep.
do. Like, so if the other kids get angry or like they kind of feel frustrated, if they read this book and followed the advice that it contains to the letter, taking it
Mhm.
to heart very deeply for the rest of their little lives, would that change the way that they feel?
Probably yes.
Do you think it would though? Like, would they feel differently about the things that they get angry about if they were like to think like the who's the most philosophical one in this book? Is it the horse or the cat?
Um,
Are they both the same?
well, on each page, well, I think, well, I'm not, okay, wait, hold on. I'll find this out. Hmm. Zoo, zoo, zoo. on each page, it's one of the different. It's either the cat or the
Could be
horse
one or the
saying
other.
that it's bad. It's like it changes.
Uh huh.
So I think both of them.
Both of them. Okay. So if these kids that sometimes get annoyed about different things were to think more like the horse or the cat throughout the rest of their lives on a daily basis, like how would that affect their anger or the way that they feel?
Well, I think that if they were not very like open minded and thinking that like people may have like different opinions and stuff, it might like help them realize that people can like as the book said, like people can are feel free to feel how they uh free to feel how they feel about different things. So I think that it would help them realize that not always like everyone else is wrong, or they're not always like right.
There might be different ways of looking at things.
Yeah.
I see. And I think that has two effects. Well, I'll tell you what I think they are.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it has an effect on your emotions, and I think it has an effect on your behavior. I
Yep.
think when you think like that, it can make your emotions feel less strong. So you might be a little bit annoyed, but not as angry about things. If you think, I could see it differently. For instance, someone might call me a name pops, right? Could you imagine that? If someone called me
Yeah.
a rude name, like
Yeah.
you would never do that, would you?
No.
No.
Definitely not.
Someone called me poopy head or something like that, right? And I might think that's awful. Like I might get kind of upset about it, right? I go away and have a little cry. I might think that's really awful. How unfair, like that someone should call me poopy head or something, right?
Hmm.
But someone else might get called poopy head just the same, and they might think, well, that's bad, but it's not the end of the world. It's not awful bad. It's just like a little bit bad. They might think, or they might think that's just silly. Like it doesn't bother me at all. Like, and in fact, they might even laugh at it. Right?
Yep.
I guess. So if I think, well, it's only awful if I think it's awful, and I imagine that other people might view it differently. Realizing that, I think, might make me feel a bit less angry. What do you think? It might kind of like water down or loosen up my anger a little bit, so it's not as powerful.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Yeah. And I I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Um uh yeah, basically just what you said. I think that's what the book would teach someone.
That's the first thing. I think it might change my behavior as well because I think it might make me better at problem solving. If I could imagine there's different ways of looking at things, and then say I'm going, okay, I'm not as angry. I might think, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to say or do next? I think I might be able to come up with more ideas about what to do or say next if I could imagine different ways of looking at the situation. Whereas if I could only imagine one way of looking at it, that is really awful and catastrophic. I don't think I'd be able to come up with as many solutions or ways of dealing with the problem. But do you reckon? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, one of my slippers just fell off. Hang on,
Oh.
I get my slipper back. Tell me about it. So, like,
um so I agree with what you're saying about how you might learn like how to like solve the situation, like stuff like that. And this is like a really weird like
mhm.
suggest like not a suggestion, like a reference kind of. But
I love weird
and
references, Pops. You know I love weird
okay,
references.
okay.
Hit me.
A lot of people might not know what this is, but I think a few will. But if you've ever played like the game chopsticks with your fingers, it's kind of like that. Like if you think you have like one and then you give it to the other person and they have like two, yeah. Like think of that as like how to solve a problem.
Mhm.
Then they have like more, and yeah, I don't know.
Have you
But
played chopsticks? I don't think I've ever played that. I
uh,
feel like maybe you tried to teach me how to play it once, and then I wasn't very good at it, or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Like you probably, I feel like maybe you maybe taught me how to play it in the middle of a blizzard or something. And I was like
Probably.
confused. But so in chopsticks, how does it work? Tell me
Well,
that again. Like
well, there's different ways of playing it, but this one there's like so you all start with like one finger on
right,
both your hands,
this
and
sounds
then
familiar.
yeah, and then there might be another person with one finger on their hands, and then you can like tap them on the finger, and then they now have like two fingers, and you still have one. And then if they give you their two fingers, then you have like three fingers,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So you can think of that like as like learning more ways to like solve problems and stuff like that.
So there's different things that you could do in the game of chopsticks. Is that right? And if you were, do you mean like if you were playing it badly, do you have to make decisions about it? What, like, what?
Yeah. Well, um, if someone then has like five fingers on their hand, they'll turn
Oh,
their hand into like zero
uh-huh,
because they like maxed it out,
uh-huh.
and then they have to like restart.
Do you know
So
what
I guess
I? Go on.
yeah. You go on.
I thought what you were going to say, and maybe I'm wrong, is that you play. So you're playing the game, and you have to choose what how many fingers you use. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
And if somebody was like, if you ever had the, you know, the expression tunnel vision, when
Yeah.
someone's kind of like they can only see things one way, and maybe they just keep trying to use the same move over and over again, like the same number of
Yeah.
fingers, and it's not really working. Whereas you might think, yeah, I could use one finger, I could use two fingers, I could use three fingers. Like, you know, like I've got a couple of different moves that I could try out here. And that might make you
Yeah.
better at winning the game. Is that what you were
Yeah.
saying? That's
Yeah, and you
that's a good
also have like
analogy.
two hands. So if just think of it this way, so if you only use one hand,
Mm-hmm.
then you're keeping like what you said, like tunnel vision. You're only like focusing on one move. Like you're keeping that one hand keep like restarting when the other hand is still like fresh and brand new. So
Uh-huh.
you could like you and if you
Right
use
on.
like both fingers and you keep like doing both fingers,
Mm-hmm.
you're like being more open minded and you're learning like more
Right.
stuff.
We call that kind of flexible. We actually call it cognitive flexibility, which means kind of flexible ways of thinking, flexibility in your thinking. So I like to think big when it comes to ways of coping with emotions and problem solving. So what I would normally ask somebody is, okay, like suppose you were able to be as flexible as that in your thinking and open minded every day for the rest of your life, like versus imagine that you had tunnel vision every day for the rest of your life. So there's like two options ahead of you. One where you've just got tunnel vision every day for years and years, and the other one where you're more flexible and versatile and you're thinking every day for years and years. Like, and you have different problems. Like sometimes there's a blizzard, sometimes someone calls you poopy head. Like there's all sorts of things that you have to deal with. You know, you get sacked from your job, like you got to find a new job, like one thing after another. Like, but in one of these you've got tunnel vision, the other one you're thinking flexibly. What do you think would be the difference between those two ways of living?
Well, I think if you're only like well, I don't know if this is exactly what you were saying, but if you only focus on like the bad things that are
Mm-hmm.
happening, then you won't like feel as like good about yourself and stuff like that. But if you're like more open minded and you focus on the good things and the bad things, it'll be
Mm-hmm.
more like even,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll kind of be like more even. So then it'll be like a balance between good things and bad things. So you'll feel like good about yourself and also a little bit bad sometimes, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you only think about the bad things, it'll go like about like this kind of, and you'll have more bad things, and it'll not be balanced, and you'll pretty much always not feel good about yourself, and that is not good. So yeah.
How would it affect your relationship with your friends?
Well, if you're always feeling bad about yourself, then you might not be very like nice towards other people because you're just not feeling in the mood to talk to other people. Um, so your friends might get like a little bit upset with you because you're not talking to them or something. But if you have like that balance between good and bad things, and you might feel like happy to talk to your friends and like play with them or whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to do, and then they'll be happy to be your friend and they'll probably like talk to you a lot. And yeah, I think it like help with your relationships.
How would it
Yeah.
affect your ability to study and how good you are at learning things, like learning horse riding or learning stuff at school?
Well, I could talk about this in a more like horseback riding
Mm-hmm.
point of view. If you're not feeling good about yourself and you're just like not feeling good, you have that balance again that's not even. Um, and you're feeling bad about yourself, you can like reflect. Like the horse might feel that you're not very like enthusiastic, and they might try and like cut corners and stuff because they know that you're not going to do anything about it, and that's not really good
Mm,
to make the horses think that they can do that. But if you
interesting.
have like that balance that's actually like even,
Mm-hmm.
um then you can like be very like enthusiastic and energetic and like happy on the horse, but also a little bit strict so they don't do anything bad.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will listen to you more and they won't try to like cut corners as much because they'll
Yeah,
realize that you're not in the mood for that.
right.
um yeah.
So, like the way the horse responds could potentially teach you to remember to be more open-minded and flexible in your thinking.
Yeah. Also, if you're very like nervous
Mm-hmm.
and you're riding a horse, they can like sense that you're nervous,
Mm-hmm.
and they might try and like do stuff because they know that you're nervous and that you might be like afraid to like help the horses listen, and they might try to cut more corners and stuff like that. But if you're more like energetic and excited, then they won't do that as much because they'll realize that you're like the boss and you're like able to tell them what to do.
That's cool. And so that's how the horse would perceive you, like as if you're nervous or if you're tense or you're like confident, like the boss. How do you think? How would you feel about your friends if they were really had tunnel vision and were always focusing on negative things? Versus, say, you had one friend who was like that, and they had a twin but they were much more open-minded and flexible in their thinking. They could see the good and the bad that you were describing. So one twin's always like focused on the negative, like tunnel vision, and the other one's more open-minded and flexible and balanced. Like, how would you feel about hanging out with them?
Um, well, I'd want to hang out with the one that was more open minded because they'd probably be um, more like happy to do stuff with their friends, and they just be more like a good energy coming from them, I guess you could say.
But sometimes they
And
get
but
sad.
yeah, and I think it's okay. You don't have to be like happy all the time, and it's okay if you're sad sometimes. But I don't think you should always take it out on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say one of your friends is like really happy and stuff like that, and they're like having a really good day, but then you're like feeling like really like miserable and sad and not really happy. I don't think you should go over to them and be like, that was so stupid, you should not like that, and then make their day bad as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, by being like around the negative twin, they could have like a negative impact on you as well and make you like less like happy. And I don't know, it would be a very big difference, I think.
It would make a big difference, and
Yeah.
especially like over if it was every day for like months or years, like over a long time, like
Yeah.
it would make a big difference. So I was going to read you a quote. There's a philosophy quote that this book is based on. It's from a guy called Epictetus, who was originally a slave in Rome, and then he got set free. And
Hmm.
his name, we don't really know what his real name was. His name just kind of means he belonged to somebody. It means acquired, like. But he became a famous philosophy teacher, and he said it's not things that upset us, but rather our opinions about them that upset us. Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
cool. Do you think I like? I wonder when the other kids are kind of annoyed, when like the kids are being annoying, like they say silly things about Greek mythology or whatever, and you get kind of annoyed with them. Like, do you think it's really just their behavior that's annoying you, or do you think it's partly also the way that you think about it and the things that you tell yourself about it that make you angry with them? Could there be another way of looking at it? Could there be a twin that you had that sees the kids talking nonsense who maybe feels like it a little bit differently about it?
Yeah. I think there would be, and I think sorry. I think so I think it's more like my opinion. Like I think that's like really like makes me upset, and from their point of view they might be thinking like, oh, this is what I know, so I don't think I should be like saying like, oh, that's so horrible. I should be like keeping an open mind and being like, do they know that that's wrong, or do they like, are they just like saying that because why not? Like, yeah, I think it would, like, if I had like a twin, yeah, it would make a big difference.
And is
Yeah.
that true even if I say stupid, annoying things?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, cool. That's cool. That helps. That makes me feel better. But I think that's all that I really wanted to say about the book. Do you want to show us like a little bit more of the pictures? Do you want to pick one more picture, like, or it could be a couple, one or two more pictures, just to show us like some more of the art?
Sure. Yeah. Um. So I'll show you the last picture.
Yeah, that's cool. It doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. That's the last picture.
It's like a painting. It's cool. It looks really nice. Like there's nice scenery. Like I can imagine
Yeah.
you hanging that on your wall. Like,
Yeah.
do you like that picture? How does it make you feel when you look at that picture?
Well, um, I think it's like, well, it makes me feel like good because it's kind of like relaxing, and it's also
Yeah.
kind of like, it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like sunset
Mm-hmm.
possibly. Yeah, it's a sunset, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it just makes me feel good because it's kind of like the end where they're like realizing, oh, that's okay, and like it's kind of like it's nighttime, and they're like it's the end of the day, and it's the end of them thinking that that's like the way, like the way they think is the only way that things
Yeah, and
are.
so tomorrow's going to be a new day, kind of thing, and a new way of
Yeah,
thinking, a whole new
yeah.
world. Like that's pretty cool. I hadn't thought about it like that. I like that. Um, I think we have a sunset maybe at the in the last picture of my graphic novel as well, perhaps. Um, so would you recommend this book to other kids? Like that's the main thing. No,
Uh,
no, but would you need a drum roll? Like I won't do it because
um,
it'll sound weird in the microphone, maybe. But
yeah,
like
I'd
this is your big announcement. Like, are you gonna recommend this book? Should other people read it?
Yeah, I think that if you like horses and cats, you like that type of like general thing,
Mm-hmm.
you should read it because it gives a good message, and yeah, I would 100% recommend it.
Wow. I mean, everybody likes horses and cats, so like
Yeah,
myself included.
hopefully,
So that's
if
a
they
good
don't, I'll be very
recommendation.
angry.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Pops. I thought you did a sensational job, like of helping me with my video, and it only remains for me to say goodbye to everybody. It's goodbye from me, and say goodbye, Pops.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.